Welcome to the Last Diet Experience podcast. Welcome back, people. It's our first episode of the season. We are back. It's a new year, and I'm very excited to bring along this beautiful soul that I happened to found in a big event. And out of all those people, she stood out. I don't know. Part of it was her energy, but I think also her beautiful flowery dresses. I just love the way she dressed. And I don't know, I feel like I should wear more dresses. I want to wear more dresses, but I live in a place where there's mostly cold. It's mostly winter all the time. But anyway, I just love her style, but most her energy. Her name is Martina, and I'm going to let her introduce herself a bit because she's going to do a better job than I can. So, hi, Martina. How are ya?
Hi, Lizzy. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here. I wore flowery, flowy for you today.
Yeah, I love
as
it.
well. Yeah. So I'm really excited to be here with you. I'm a holistic nutrition consultant and a health coach, and I specialize in those on the motherhood journey, but really just women in their bodies. I blend the science and the sacred together to unlock our energy and our thriving through nutrition, through hormonal healing, through sustainable, healthy habits in our real lives, and through nervous system healing, all blending together into just really unlocking our life force energy and letting us live our best lives in our most vibrant bodies possible.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember we were talking about, like, when we met, we were talking about um having enough food. I think that was the topic. I don't know if you remember, but I do, because at
Hmm.
that time I was looking into fasting. And one of the things that I was following was my cycle, and
Yeah.
fasting with my cycle, just pairing that, syncing that. And I was so confused because the book said at this stage, you will feel like you can do longer fasts. And I was like, well, that stage, I feel like I can do shorter fasts. That's not working for me. And it was just like
Yeah.
so simple. The answer you gave me is like, well, listen to your body. I'm like, well, oh my God, this
Yeah.
is what I've been talking about all this time. And that's the answer. Like, what am I doing? Not listening to myself. But
Yeah.
like, that was just beautiful, because it just kind of slapped me into like, you already know the answer, Liz. Come on, do better. But anyway, I'm just curious, like, what's your story? What got you on this path?
Yeah. I mean, my health journey started like back in college. My anxiety
Oh,
was raging. I was constantly on like diet after diet, trying to feel good in my body. And I reached a point where I decided to stop taking birth control and was like, well, maybe this hormonal birth control pill is like messing with my hormones, and let's just try that. Cause I tried all the talk therapy and I tried like supplements and I like things were not working. So I stopped taking birth control and my health like blew up. Like I was gaining all this weight, my anxiety got worse, I started breaking out for the first time in my life,
hmm.
and my cycles disappeared. And it really kick-started this journey of learning how to advocate for my own body, trusting my lived experience and my intuition with my health, and really seeking out like holistic solutions for what was going on. And as I was healing myself, I got really fired up about the potential healing power of food and what a different life we get to live when we feel healthy and vibrant versus when we're fighting our body every day, which is how I lived for so long. And as I was healing myself, really sparked this passion in me. I went back to school for nutrition and now have been coaching. Let's see, it's been like 7 years of coaching other women through their own hormonal healing journeys, energy reclaiming journeys, health rebalancing, all of it from the lens of holistic nutrition. And one piece of my story that I find is really important to layer in is this was not like a let me heal my cycles and hormones, and now I get to like stay healed forever.
Mhm.
Actually, what happened is I started coaching other women on this process and then had my first baby. And everything like fell apart again. My hormones went wacky. I was suddenly burned out and exhausted all the time. Like the stuff I knew to do, like I wasn't doing because I was in full-blown
Mhm.
survival mode. And that really sparked the direction of my work now, which is most women out there don't have a knowledge gap. We have an integration gap. We're just in so much survival mode that we
Yes.
can't integrate in the things we know to do. Like, we're all smart women here. You all know what to do to be healthier and happier. We just can't make it happen because we're fighting our nervous systems and we're trying to do it from a place of willpower and force, and it just doesn't work. So, that really birthed my body of work now, which is all around reclaiming health and vitality in motherhood specifically through nutrition, but also expanding our capacity to like hold changes, not from a place of willpower and pressure, but from like honoring our feminine flow and wisdom and cycles in that way.
Mhm. So, okay, you brought out an important thing here. Like, we tend to uh, default into pushing ourselves. Like, we have to get
Mhm.
things out. We have to be good. We have to take care of our family. We have to. There's a lot of stress in there. Like, what do you think that keeps us believing that we have to be that person instead of just really connecting with our body and our intuition and our feminine energy where we would know what's best if we would just follow that. But in this world, we tend to do the opposite. So I'm
Yeah.
just curious to know, like, what do you think is it that's keeping us in that mentality, in that mindset? Um, I have my own, but like, I'm
Yeah.
curious to know what you think about it.
Yeah. I think that comes from a really wise place. That urge to push and change and grow and evolve, that comes from this wise place that says, there has to be something better than this. Like the way I
Mhm.
feel right now can't be it. And so we're trying to reach for what we know is possible. And we're doing it in the
Mhm.
only way we were taught. We were taught through this incredibly patriarchal, restrictive, pressure filled system of life. It's what was modeled to us from our mothers, it's what we see from our friends. And it's
Mhm.
just the way we know to honor that calling. The calling is wise. The calling says, I deserve to be healthier and happier and my full express
Mhm.
self. But the way we go about following the calling is often a reflection of our like over culture and not our true knowing. One thing I love to talk about is the balance between masculine energy and feminine energy, specifically in our
Mhm.
health routines and patterns. And this isn't about gender, right? This is about energetic qualities. We all have both masculine and feminine energy. And our
Mhm.
masculine energy is the energy of structures and routines and consistency and drive. It gets things done and it's important, right? If we had no
Mhm.
masculine energy, we wouldn't actually get up early for the workout class, or we wouldn't like meal prep anything. We would just be like la di da di da di da da da, like day to day. Feminine energy brings the intuition and it brings the like the knowing of cycles, that every day gets to be different and intuitive and responsive. It brings the juice and the life and the flow, and it lets us like go enjoy our lives and not feel confined and restricted. So we need both. But most popular diet culture is all masculine. It's like if we're not doing the same thing every day, we're failing. And that ain't it.
Mhm.
That's just not it. You mentioned your
Mhm.
cycle, right? Like
Mhm.
the way we show
Mhm.
up for our bodies on day 9 of our cycle should look different than how we show up on day 24, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are not the same person. We're not designed to be, but men kind of are. Like the masculine like archetype and also male bodies, their hormonal cycles are 24 hours. So
Mhm.
every day is actually kind of the same flow for them. That is not how cycling bodies work, and it's not how feminine energy works. So we need a
Mhm.
balance of structure, contained direction, and intuitive, like juicy, fun flow to really follow the calling that we're
Mhm.
craving. So that's my thoughts. I'm curious where you feel like all of that pressure comes from in your experience.
I no, I agree with you that the environment in which we grew up in is one of the biggest influences in how we think that we should um function in the world, you know? So
Yep.
if we're taught that you need to work hard to get results, then I mean, we always want to get results, so we're always going to be working hard. And
Yeah.
that's a very masculine energy. And then if we're taught that we need to be good girls to, um, I don't know, please society because somehow we have ingrained the idea that we have to please society, then we're going to be doing that because if we don't do that, then we're not good girls, then we're rejected, then it just kind of ripples into something negative. So I completely agree that society really creates the rules, and those rules don't necessarily um, function. Function is the word. Um, serve. I think serve is the word. Serve the natural flow of our our hormones, basically, because
Hmm.
we can be good at a lot of things just in different days of our cycle. There's
Yeah.
things that we need sometimes we need to be more calm, and sometimes we're like the ones that get things done, and we are going to be the
Mhm.
best at both just in different days, you know? So it's not taught like that. It's taught that in a very patriarchal world, and there's more to that because there's a part where the matriarch kind of is the boss, but is I find that also as the boss mother or the matriarch, you also um uh, uh, teach the rules, like the masculine energy rules, because we're
Mm.
taught that that's the way it should be. So it's a little blurry,
Mhm.
but ultimately, yes, I completely agree that it is the culture that we are raised in,
Yeah.
and then that's changing. So yay.
We're here to change
um
it, right?
yeah, yeah, no, it's I think we're in a stage of human life that we are starting to wake up to
Yeah.
more than just this physical world and
Mhm.
what we see, and that there's more into not just what we see and what we believe, but that which is our reality, but that there's more that we haven't seen. Kind of like
Mhm.
electricity. It was always there. We just didn't know it existed. We can't touch it. We can't like just play with it. We had to realize that it existed, then find a way to harness it, and then we can play with it and use it. But it was always there. So I think we're starting to wake up to
Mhm.
more things like that, more energies. Does that? I don't know. I start to get a little woo,
Yeah.
but that's where my head goes.
No, I totally
Um,
agree. Yep.
so let's jump into something that we were talking about was the morning routine. And I know this is something
Mm.
that is big in your program, in your process with your ladies. Um, so what I want to know, like, what is the morning routine and why is it so important?
Yeah. Ugh, I love me some mornings. So I I often use the language actually morning ceremony if we really
Oh,
want to lean into the woo of it all for a few reasons. Morning routines have been talked about to death. Like it's like just constantly in circulation.
hmm
And a lot of moms especially feel a lot of like pressure, or like it is difficult for moms to carve out time in the morning, especially with young
hmm
kiddos. So one thing that I teach my clients how to do is break out of routine in the paradigm of like productivity. We're not starting our day with like, can we get a bunch of things done right away? Which is what we often
Mhm.
think about with a morning routine is like, what can we check off right away before the day even starts? What I really teach is a different way. And it is the idea is how do we start our day in the frequency that we want to live our life? The way we
Mhm.
start our day really ripples out into everything. We've all had those mornings that are like chaotic and everything goes wrong and we spill the coffee and like we get the bad news and babysitter calls out. It's like one thing after another. It's hard to bounce back from that, right? Like we feel it all day. The same is true for the opposite. Like when we start our day in connection with ourselves, in like the frequency state that we want to live, it
Mhm.
then sets, I think of it as a thermostat. It sets the thermostat of our nervous system of where we want to
Agreed.
be. Many women wake up reactive. We wake up checking our phones. We wake up responding to kids. We wake up jumping into work. We wait, like we're reacting to our environment. So, what I'm an advocate for is carving out time first thing to pour into yourself. Now, we do use that time to take care of our body because that's part of the frequency we're living in. But the point is not to check off your workout off the list. The point is to be in like ceremony with yourself and with your body in the
Mhm.
morning. And there's so much science behind this, behind the thoughts we think first thing, the actions we take first thing, how it sets the tone for the day. And I always
Mhm.
tell people if you want to change your life, you have to change your mornings. If you want to change your health, you have to change your mornings. And I would love to get into like what that could look like, but that's really the big picture of like why it matters
Mhm.
is really setting the thermostat to where you wanna live.
Yes, I love that. I love that because that's part of how, I mean, un unknowing, unbeknownst to me, what this all meant. That's how I started my change to go from
Yeah.
depressed, overweight, and just in a downward spiral to just making this simple change that happened to be in the morning of just moving my body. And the intention was to change what I was doing and how I was feeling. But ultimately, something that I've learned now through coaching is that it it's not just what you're doing, but the intention that's behind the activity that you're doing. One of the things that I encourage my ladies to do is like carry your water bottle with you. And they just think immediately, oh, yeah, I keep myself hydrated. Well, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good to keep yourself hydrated. But the intention goes beyond that because these are people that tend to be snacky and get bored and reach for food and reach for food between activities and reach for food because they're stressed. Reach. And so just having that water bottle keeps them reaching for water and not just more
Mhm.
junk, right? So, the I just find it so interesting that it's like it's the same thing, which is carry your water bottle and drink water, but the intention will create different results. And I think that's where the morning routine comes in, where you actually set the intention to like the runway to your day, and
Yeah.
you are more likely to get what you want because you are doing intentionally versus just
Yeah.
reactively. And yes, I love that. I love it. So, tell me, like, how does a morning ritual look like?
Yeah. And I will say too, before I walk you through some morning
Yeah.
ceremonies, that there is a practical side to all of this too. Like there's a lot of
Hmm.
behavioral science around sort of doing the hard thing first. So it's not hanging over our heads all day. So if meditating or cooking a real breakfast or taking a walk or working out, if that is like your hard thing, doing it first builds this incredible momentum for the day. And the busier we are, the harder it is to like do all of the things for ourselves. So doing it before the day gets going is just a smart strategy. So I will say that too. Apart from all the frequency set points, there is this practicality of how our habits are wired and how we can really work with that. So, what does this look like? It can look however we want, truly. It really can. So, I always encourage people to do something in their morning ceremony that connects them to their bodies and to their souls, to their like soul self. So, I always start my day with, and I encourage my clients to as well. I have converted them all to the warm lemon water start of the day. So we start with a
Okay.
hydration boost. We drink 32 ounces of warm water with lemon juice and sea salt. So we're getting electrolytes and hydration. And that is the first thing going into our bodies. And then we take that water with us to do some kind of nervous system work. So for me, this looks like meditating and pulling tarot cards and journaling. And I'm like really just being with what do I want out of my day? What messages are coming from the universe, from my soul? Like just kind of being in my own reflection state. And then
Mm-hmm.
I do some movement. So typically I'm either doing, depending on where I am in my cycle, I may be doing a yoga flow. I may be doing more of a hit style workout, but usually like 20, 30 minutes of movement, just getting some life force into my body before I really get going. So this all happens before the kids wake up, before like work starts. And from there, we get to move into like, what are we nourishing ourselves with for breakfast? And can we get some morning sunlight? And we start to move
Mm-hmm.
out into the world more. But the first step I always say is like hydrate that beautiful vessel after sleeping and then check in with your soul, with your energy. If that's in meditation, if that's in journaling, if it's in gratitude practice, and then move your beautiful body and like do it first thing and really wake up your vitality in that way. So that's really the starting point of the ceremony.
Okay, so we got moving the physical body, connecting with the soul body,
Yeah.
and hydrating yourself. Is
Mhm.
that okay? Is that like what's is it? What's the intention about the hydration right after waking up? Like, what is there? What is there?
Yeah. Yeah. So much. Couple of things happen here. First of all, we've been sleeping all night. We've been
Mhm.
breathing in and out through our nose, which means we are losing moisture that way. And our body is
Okay.
also using moisture to digest, to heal, to repair, to process. So we wake up in the morning after 7, 8, 9 hours of not drinking any water. So there is a literal physiological need to
Okay.
rehydrate. And I always talk about water and especially electrolytes, which we include through the sea salt and the lemon juice.
Mhm.
Electrolytes are like the spark plug of the cells. Energy is made in the cells, right? So,
Mhm.
biologically speaking, we need minerals to go through that cellular energy process that creates ATP, right? Like the cellular energy that we use.
Mhm.
We need minerals to do that. And
Mm.
minerals are what moves the hydration into our cells and our tissues. So, most of us are waking up, we're reaching for coffee right away. Maybe eventually we're eating some food and then it's like 10:30 and we're like, haven't had any water today. I wonder where my water bottle is. It's like kind of backwards of what we need. So when we
Mhm.
flood our body with, I have my clients go for 32 ounces, which is about a third of what you need for the whole day. We
Wow.
get that
Okay.
in within the first hour. You're drinking this warm lemon juice with sea salt and water, and you're not eating food yet. You're just rehydrating. You're giving your cells energy fuel and you are rebalancing the hydration needs and you're getting such a head start on your water for the day, right? Now you're not
Mhm.
trying to play
Yeah.
catch up at 7 p.m. being like, oh, I only refilled my water bottle once today. Shoot. Now you've like you've already gotten 32 ounces of your water needs before breakfast and now you have that momentum and you're not playing catch up all day. So those are some reasons. The warm lemon water is some of my clients' favorites. It's so easy to do and it leaves you feeling
Mhm.
so buzzy because of the cellular hydration and the energy boost that we get from the electrolytes.
How did your mornings used to look like before you made this change? Before you started creating this ritual? in comparison to what it looks like now.
Mm, yeah. Well, I've always been one of those freaks that like was a natural morning person.
Okay.
So I have always loved mornings. I've loved the like fresh start feel of it, but my mornings used to look hyper productive. Like I would get up with my planner and start creating to-do lists and looking at my schedule and like seeing how much productivity I could cram in. Sometimes I would
Mhm.
work out, but always from a place of like checking it off.
Mm.
And then when I became a mom, that fell apart to literally nothing. I was sleeping until the last possible moment and then being woken up by my kids. And
Mhm.
what happens, this is the story for so many moms, right? We um probably are staying up later than is best for our body because we're desperate for some time just to feel like ourselves, some time where we're not needed, some time to be a grown up, some time after the kids go to sleep. So we're
Mhm.
staying up late scrolling or watching TV or even like reading, and then we are too tired to start our day with intention.
Mhm.
Then we're sleeping late till the last possible moment. This
Mhm.
was my morning after becoming a mom for sure. We were snoozing the alarm. Even if we were like, I'm going to wake up early and work out tomorrow, we would
Yeah.
snooze through it because we were so tired. And
Mhm.
then suddenly we go from asleep to like, Mom, I'm hungry. And like, I don't want to wear that. And, like we're responding nonstop to
Okay.
others. There is no space there to check in with, like, how do I feel today? What do I need today? Right? There's nothing there for that. And then we are playing catch up all day. We're stuck in activation mode. We're stuck in response mode. We're moving straight from kids to breakfast to maybe work or maybe just more mothering, which is like even harder on our nervous system. And then suddenly the day passes by in autopilot and we haven't
Mhm.
done the things that are important to us. So what I think is important about this cycle is that leaves us in the evenings desperate for the recharge, the me time, which
Mhm.
keeps us up later. So,
Yeah.
skipping our morning time is actually causing us to stay up later because now we're on empty, desperate
Mhm.
for some reconnection. And then we're skipping our morning time because we were up later. So, what we have to do is actually just break the cycle. I talk to people all the time who are like not morning people and they like their late evenings. But what we need to remember is that space in the evening is often less recharging than the space in the morning because we're
Hmm.
tired, we're on empty. The choices we make are less likely to serve our goals when we're doing them at 9 p.m., right?
Okay. Yeah.
And we're using that to try to fill our cups and it's not working. So instead, we move that time to the morning and use it with more intention because when I was trying to mother without a morning routine was the time that I was the most burned out, the least healthy, the most disconnected, the most anxious and reactive and just like not being the mom and the human that I really wanted to be. Getting back into a morning routine was the first thing that I shifted when I was really ready to come back to life in motherhood and pour back into my health. And it was the thing that let me move through the rest of my day with this new vision, this new intention, this like identity shift. That was the first piece. And it's always the first piece that I recommend folks start with.
Mm. Yeah, I find that y- I never thought about it, but you're right. Like at the end of the day, if we didn't fill our cup in the morning or through the day, we just instinctively are looking to fill our cup, and we don't have the energy
Mhm.
to do it in the most efficient or nurturing way that we could if we would start with it.
Yeah.
I never thought about it, but you're absolutely right because I mean I've done both. I've absolutely done both. And
Yeah.
it is more efficient when I start the day with it. Um
Yeah.
and it's actually something that I've experienced is my husband is more of a night owl and I'm more of a morning person.
Mhm.
So our party time or like things when we activate our brain is very different timing. And at the end of the night, what he wants to do is kind of like enjoy time with his wife, but watching TV. And I'm there watching TV, falling asleep, you know? And it's not recharging for me, but I also want to do something with my husband. And then me being a morning person, it's more like, okay, let's get up and let's move. And then I'll just put some dishes to like dishwasher, not necessarily me doing the dishes. And and then start making all this noise. And it's just more satisfying for me. Whatever I want to do, but it's more satisfying for me to do it in the morning than at night. But one thing that
And I really view too, I think that's such a good point about balancing the connection time and the personal time. I always view mornings as my sacred space, like
Okay.
my time. You get that first thing, and then you get evenings to be more present in connection with your family.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and you have the attention and energy and desire to do that. I mean, not that you don't, if you don't do your
Yeah.
morning routine, but like it's like you have the energy basically to do that. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, I one thing that I've noticed in my life, in my this change, fueling myself in the morning and leaving all the productivity and the giving of myself and serving others after that is the ripple effect. What it has done, not just in my personal or in my personal life, but how it serves others. And I'm wondering, like, what have you seen that the ripple effect of you starting this morning routine has done for the world around you, especially your family and your loved
Mm.
ones?
Yeah. You know, I always describe energy as being like self-compounding, like a really high interest bank account, right?
Okay.
So if we put 5 cents in, it can grow and then we can reinvest it in something else because it actually takes energy to make energy, right?
Right.
Like we have to eat the food to make energy and it takes energy to make the food and eat the food. So
Right.
I say all that because I think it's really interesting to think about the ripple effect through our day when we start by depositing into our energy account and let it grow throughout the day. Like if we think
Mhm.
about maybe a case study, I'll describe how I used to move my mornings and how that impacted my family and how I do now. If, like before, we were snoozing till the last minute, our sleep wasn't restorative because we were up late with blue light, we wake up
Mhm.
exhausted, feeling behind, feeling stressed. Then we come downstairs for breakfast with our kids. We are already feeling late. We're tense. We're reactive. We're impatient. We are overwhelmed. So we just like grab cereal because we can't even think about doing anything else. Then we're reaching for coffee because we're so foggy and tired and like need to get with it. And we have cereal and coffee in our system. Now our blood sugar and cortisol is involved and making us more anxious. And this spirals throughout the day until we get to bedtime and we're under eating, we are under moving, we are under nourishing our soul. And our family has had this sort of like cranky, tight, tired version of ourselves all
Mhm.
day. And this was me for like the first 2 years of motherhood,
Right.
and certainly at times before that. So, although this morning routine feels like um, it's such a small time of your day. Like, how does it impact that much? But if you think about what happens when we wake up, let's say we wake up really well rested because we didn't have blue light in the evening and we had balanced digestion throughout the day and then we're resting really deep at night. So we wake up not feeling tired at 5:30 in the morning and we have our morning ceremony and we check in with our nervous system and we make it fun and we like have a dance party and we move our body and we hydrate. Okay, now we move to breakfast and we've already had an hour and a half to like be with ourselves. And now when our kids are melting down or we're running late, we have the nervous system safety signals to like deal with it.
Mhm.
And we're on top of the schedule. So we cook a real breakfast, and then we are
Mhm.
fueled enough that we're not desperate for coffee. So things are more balanced in our anxiety and in our cortisol. And that ripples through the day. We have a real lunch because we're not stressed and behind, and we remember to stay hydrated, and we're building on the investment we made. It's compounding. So we reinvested that into breakfast, and then we reinvested that into hydration, and it keeps going
Mhm.
until before long we're putting the kids to bed feeling like we've been present in our lives. Like, I feel that my morning routine ripples out so that I can actually be patient and present and energized and actually hold the both of taking care of me and them. You know,
Mhm.
you mentioned the matriarch earlier. That's really what I view the matriarchal model as, is we're taking care of ourselves so we can take care of others. And that's what the morning routine offers. And my kids get such a more patient and joyful an energized version of me. And they get a mom who isn't too tired to play with them, and who wants to be silly and dance, and who is patient during the hard moments, and that is worth everything.
Mhm.
And it allows me then to end my day with intention so that I can get the restorative rest, so that I can start the next day with intention, and it all keeps compounding day after day after day. So that's really the difference that it can make, although it feels very cliche to come back into get your morning routine together.
Mhm.
There is power. There is real power in how we start our day and let it compound over small choices over and over and over and over again.
Mhm. That I'm thinking of certain moms that I know, and I can imagine what they would say, and I can see them saying like, "Well, yeah, all that sounds wonderful, but I don't have the energy and time to do that." You know?
Yeah.
Um, what would you tell them to get them, like, to veer their path, like, from what they're doing
Mhm.
to actually moving on to having that they want, which is actually time for themselves and that energy to mother their children the way they would like to mother their children, because I'm sure nobody wants to be, like, all hysterical telling like, trying to micromanage their children and everything. That's not what they want. uh, Mothers want the best for their family and themselves and everything. They're it's just the energy that has been put, that they're managing, I guess. The energy they're managing is not in the right frequency, if that makes sense. So I can
Mhm.
definitely see them going like, "Well, yeah, that sounds wonderful, but it's not for me," because that's too much. That's too hard. I've tried it. Like, what do you tell those moms?
Yeah. It's so real, and it's really the heart of my work. So I would say first, come join Thrive Mama, which is my group program that really like completely transforms the way we take care of our energy, and it happens inside of realistic motherhood life. Because what I would say to them really is we always think that time is this the scarce resource. We don't have enough time to take care of ourselves, and it feels so true. But
Hmm.
what I want to offer is this alternative view that it's actually energy that is the currency of our life. So many of us have pockets of time that we are too tired to use it with intention, right? And this isn't hyper productive, toxic hustle kind of view. This is more, are we using the time we have with intention, or are we crashing out because we have no energy? And as I just described, when we have energy to reinvest, we actually stay more on top of our day because we are more focused, we're more efficient, we are more intentional with what we're doing. So I think the paradox is people think they need to wait till they have time to
Hmm.
start doing things like this, to start eating better, to start waking up earlier. But it's actually the opposite. It's actually that if you don't have time, you need this more than anyone. You need the inner resources to get you time back. Because when we're energized, we can be more present and intentional with the time that we do have. So that is a huge reframe that my clients have to go through, is viewing energy as the key to unlocking more time
Mhm.
instead of waiting for time to magically appear. But
Right.
the other thing I would say is this can be as small or big as you want. This is a really important piece of this conversation.
Mhm.
Not everyone has an hour and a half or wants to have an hour and a half, and that's okay, truly. If you have kids that wake up really early, or if you are a single mom, or if you have an early shift, like there's lots of reasons that you would not actually have a huge chunk of time in the morning. So this can happen in 15 minutes. It truly can. You can wake up and before reaching for your phone or before responding to your kids, you
Mhm.
can meditate for 5 minutes. You can put on a song and dance and get your heart rate up for 5 minutes. You can sit in gratitude for 5 minutes. You can make a lemon water, which takes 3 minutes. Like, this doesn't have to be an hour and a half.
Mhm.
And that still shifts your frequency. It still shifts the momentum of your day when you carve out even 15 minutes to set yourself up for how you want to feel for the day ahead. So I think that's really where I would start is, first of all, get yourself into communities that are doing this work, that are giving you tools to get energy and time back in motherhood, because it happens through your health. It happens through your body. And start to flip the story that you need time first to make it happen. And then let yourself be with what season of life you're in. If your kids are not sleeping through the night yet, or if you work the night shift, or if you like, there's so many reasons that we actually do need to prioritize sleep. And that's so valid. So don't run over that need. Just carve out what you can, 10, 15, 20 minutes before jumping into the to-dos can still make all the difference.
Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, if you would tell our audience one thing, very specific thing that they can start doing today to get on that path, to start their journey into that path, what would it be?
Yeah. I would say, we've woven a few examples in here.
Mhm.
So I would say the one thing from this episode that I want you to do is create a boundary around your morning. So first decide, how much time can I give myself before my day really gets going? Is it
Mhm.
10, 20, 30, 60 minutes? Give yourself a chunk. Talk to the people in your home. Talk to your partner. Explain why you want to try this. Explain why you need time to yourself before jumping into work, before jumping into your kids, and get them like on your team. Be a team around it and really get specific about what needs to happen to protect that time. What I hear so often from moms is we get discouraged with morning routines because we set the alarm, we wake up early, and then 5 minutes in, our kids are up and they're like in our space, and it's like all falls apart. So build boundaries around it. Like, really enlist your partner, go to a room with a locked door. Like, figure out for yourself, what can I commit to
Mhm.
pouring into for my mornings? Well, how much time? And then what practical things need to happen? Does my partner need to take the baby monitor? Do I need to set the alarm for 20 minutes earlier? Do I need to talk to my kids and help them understand why I'm not coming down for breakfast until this time? There's so many ways. And if you're stuck on this, come DM me over on Instagram, because I have so many thoughts about how to protect your morning time and how to get your kids on board and your partner on board, because it feels selfish. Whether you're a mom or not, it feels selfish for so many of us to be like, I'm going to do this for me.
Mhm.
And as we've just described, this ripples out to help everyone. Your whole family unit benefits when you are more resourced.
Mhm.
So this is an act of service. You also just straight up deserve it. So breaking out of that mom guilt martyrdom cycle and
Mhm.
just get really clear. what needs to happen, build the boundaries around it, and get strategic about protecting it.
Mhm.
Because then this is the masculine part, right? This is the masculine structure. Then you can play inside of it later. You can play with the feminine. What do I want to do? Do I want to journal? Do I want to dance? Do I want to take a bath? Do I want to work out? Do I want to? You can play with that. But first, build the structure, build the masculine, build the boundaries, is what I would start with.
Boundaries. Build boundaries. That's yeah, and I think that's gonna trigger a few people. And definitely just go to
Yeah.
Martina because she's got the answers. But you brought up
Yep.
a word that I think it's important to change the negative connotation that we have towards that word, and the word is selfish. Because it's just a word. It just means
Mm,
that you are looking to yourself, to serve yourself, basically. Is that wrong? Is that a good thing? It's going to depend on the situation. And I don't believe that selfish is a negative thing. Because just like you mentioned, it's like you need to replenish your energy. And that's where the selfishness comes. You do have to pay attention to yourself. You do have to put to serve yourself. So then you can do what you want. And part of what mothers tend to want, or just women in general, just because it's the feminine energy, we do want to serve others. Especially our families,
yeah.
and we want to serve them from a place of love, not a place of, I have to because everything will fall apart if I don't do it, you know? So
Yep.
I think one of the things that I like to um emphasize is that the word selfish is not necessarily a negative thing. You can be selfish because
Yeah.
in a way you need to pay attention to yourself because you need to energize yourself. So then you can have this energy to put onto everyone and everything you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say if the word selfish feels like activating for you and you
Mhm.
don't want that's something you can't see yourself embracing,
Mm.
self love is not
Oh.
that different of a concept, right? It is
Mhm.
loving ourselves. That's really what I view health is. Health is self love and self worth. I am
Mhm.
worthy of feeling good. I am worthy of nutritious food. I'm worthy of strength. I'm whatever, worthy of rest. So, health is self love and health is self worth. That's what's at the core of all these habits. And I think we can all get behind this idea that we want to model for our kids true self love. We can pour into other people if we are coming from a place of self love. Most of us just didn't have that modeled.
Mhm.
The opposite of selfish were all of these self-sacrificing, people-pleasing women of all of the generations before us who were doing the best they could with what they were taught
Mhm.
and also didn't know how to prioritize their own needs. So
Mhm.
we saw love being expressed only through sacrifice. And that ain't it. That
Mm.
ain't it. It's not true love because you're not showing up in your true self in that scenario. So
Mhm.
just I totally agree that we can reclaim that word. And you can also play with these ideas of what if I move from self love? What if I move from self worth? How would that
Mhm.
change the way I carve out time in my family's schedule or in my day for myself?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, yeah, because it is a triggering word. I remember, because every time you hear it, it's like, oh, you're being selfish. So it has this energy, this negative energy,
Mhm.
and I compare it to my experience with the word weird, which also has a very negative connotation. It's like if you get called weird, then that's not good. But I had a very different experience where I was called weird, but in a positive way. So if someone tells me I'm weird, I don't take it as an insult. It's more of like, oh yeah, I know that. But it's the same thing. Like selfish. I don't even know how I switched that or even caught onto that. But eh, being called selfish has a neutral and it doesn't have like a positive or negative. It's just a neutral, and then I have to kind of process it through
Yeah.
the situation that I'm in. But I love this concept of like, okay, if that triggers you, how about use self love? that sounds a lot more loving. So, and easier to relate yourself to. So I love that you have that that switch. So you talked about Thrive Mama. Let's get into that because that's part of your offering. And you know what? Just go all braggy. Tell me what you got to offer, where people can find you, and just you. Martina, it's your floor. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not let the conversation end here, right?
Okay.
There's so much more. There is so much more. So you can come find me over on Instagram. You can find quite a few free resources, strategies, support spaces through my profile. So start there, send me a DM, let me know you found me through this podcast, and we'll get you connected. I have so many free guides, recipes, resources, meditations, all kinds of things that you can start weaving into your day. And Instagram is the main place to come connect and hang out with me. But I also do have my own podcast space, which I would love to connect with everyone on. If you enjoyed this conversation, it's called the Thrive Mama Podcast. And I'll share the link with Lizzy and she can share it with all of you. But you can find me on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts and all the places. So Thrive Mama Podcast and Instagram. And then the Thrive Mama program is really the step for those of you listening who are like, I'm done with the survival mode, with feeling like I'm fighting my body, with like feeling exhausted and my hormones are a wreck. If you're struggling with specific symptoms or just general, how do I be healthy in motherhood? How do I take care of myself in this chaos? Thrive Mama is the place to be. It is a group coaching program. It is 4 months of beautiful community space, deep levels of coaching and support, a whole wellness library of videos and guides and PDFs and recipes and meal plans and everything you need to really implement the nutrition, the hormonal healing, the nervous system healing all together into thriving health. And our next group, it only runs twice a year. And our next group is actually starting at the end of January. So if you're catching this episode before January, like the 19th, I think it's the 19th, 24th, somewhere in that week, you can come and peep it and see if this is an aligned next step to start off 2026 with a lot of momentum and spark and life force and health. It's a really powerful program and a really beautiful space to be. So I would love to connect with everyone in all of those places.
Absolutely. And we definitely will leave the links so you can just click and go directly to Martina. And before we end this, I like to ask, is there anything that we did not talk about, but you believe it is important that our audience knows?
I think I would just emphasize one last time. We've woven in a few hints about our cycles, but this is a core part of my work and I think is really important to understand in your own health and in your own routines. So I think I just want to plant a seed that says your cycles are a huge piece of your energy and health puzzle. And if you're trying to build consistent routines, if you're using that masculine structure and it's like not working, it's probably because you're not honoring your shifts in capacity through your cycle. So, really understanding what's happening at each phase. What are my hormones doing? What is my energy doing? There are quite a few episodes on the Thrive Mama podcast that I mentioned, my podcast, that dive into cycle supports for different phases. So you could start there for some guidance, but just want to plug in like your morning routine should change throughout your cycle. Your amount of sleep should change. What you're eating for breakfast should change. Like all of these things shift with our hormones and our gut and our metabolism and our blood sugar balance and our neurotransmitters, and everything's shifting. So let's stop pretending like we're men and start actually living with our cycles and let that guide your morning routines, your morning ceremonies from here on out is the last thing I would say.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Martina, this has been so educational. Thank you so much for your time. And everyone, let's stay connected to Martina. Just go to the show notes. I'll have some links for you. Thank you so much, Martina.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope it brought you a boost to your day. If you don't want to miss what's next, hit subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time.